Morning, and thanks everyone for joining us at St. Pete Collegiate High School. This school is a great example of how our state provides unique opportunities and options for students of the state of Florida. At St. Pete's Collegiate High School, students can earn a high school diploma and an AA degree at the same time at campuses here in St. Petersburg as well as at campuses in Tarpon Springs. And the great thing about that, you have precisely zero debt when you graduate with your high school diploma and your AA degree. So I want to thank everybody who's here today. Dr. Williams, thank you for hosting us here. Speaker Chris Sprouls, thank you for being here. Richard Corcoran, Commissioner of Education, on his sunset tour as the Commissioner of Education, and he's done a lot. I mean, have a great announcement today and a great bill signing, but the speaker and the commissioner were just talking. If you look at all that we've done in education over the last 4 years, it's been huge. This session, there are things no one's even noticed that are done that are going to be really significant, and so we're going to be highlighting a lot of those. I also want to thank Representatives Latvala and Cheney here in Pinellas County for being here. And then we have teachers from the Collegiate High School, Zanetta Robinson and Daniel Walsh. We also have parents, Lainey Gibney, as well as our Florida Teacher of the Year, Sarah Painter, and we have Darcy Eckert. So I want to thank all of them for being here to share in this really momentous bill signing. So today, we come not to praise the FSA, but to bury it. We are here today with legislative leaders to officially eliminate the FSA from the state of Florida. Now, 6 months ago, I announced legislative proposal to replace the FSA with progress monitoring. Instead of having one major test at the very end of the year, which provided no feedback to students before the summer came, we would do progress monitoring that would monitor progress throughout the school year. It would be shorter, it would be more individualized, and it would provide good feedback for students, for teachers, and for parents. And so I want to thank Richard Corcoran for really bringing this to the forefront. I remember him briefing this to me a couple years ago, saying, okay, we're going to do the teacher salary this year, then we're going to do that, and then we are going to do the progress monitoring. And basically what he was doing was looking to see what has worked best in different school environments, and this type of assessment was much more effective than kind of the big study for weeks, all the marbles on the last test, and then adjourn for the summer. And so we think this is going to be an improvement in the state of Florida. We needed some tool to be able to assess, and we do believe in accountability. We're going to continue to do that because it's important to have high standards. At the same time, if you look at what's been innovated, you look at new technology, we can get the same information from the FSA in a much shorter period of time and in a way that provides really quick feedback for parents, teachers, and students. And we want the parent to be able to be involved in this, to get that feedback alongside the teacher, and then both can work to help remediate if students, in fact, need that. Now, under the FSA, students, parents, and teachers would receive the results after the school year. Well, it was too late to do anything about that. How are you going to remediate if you see problems when people are already out for the summer? The FSA doesn't give parents and teachers room to have those important conversations about what is best for the child's education. And of course, by the time those conversations could even happen, you have a new school year and you have a new teacher. And so by eliminating FSA and transitioning to progress monitoring, we are really going to help bolster the conversations between parents and teachers, and so they can work together to make sure that our kids succeed. So under this new approach, 3 administrations of progress monitoring, this will take hours, not days, and it will reduce overall testing time dramatically. Now, by law, the fall and winter results must be provided to teachers within 1 week and parents within 2 weeks, which allows real-time intervention before it's too late. Parents can reinforce classroom learning at home. The spring results must be provided to students, parents, and teachers within 1 week. We know this works because most schools that have used progress monitoring in early education have done so successfully. And so here's how we're going to implement this change. This school year, for the class of 2022, or everyone in 2022 spring, this will be the last time the FSA is administered in the state of Florida. Next year, Florida will become the first state in the nation to do a full transition to progress monitoring to inform school accountability. The 2022-23 school year will serve as a new baseline for school accountability, a, quote, hold harmless transition year, and school grades will resume the following year. This will happen while maintaining the successful components of Florida's accountability system that has seen Florida students grow and that has seen achievement gaps close over the last 2 decades. Now, nothing in this legislation is going to change the fact that schools will be graded, and it will obviously, the results of the tests are going to be the results of the test, and we're going to take those results very seriously. And of course, we're still going to focus on students' readiness and growth. However, we're going to collect and deliver information in less time, more frequently. There will be more time for learning under this progress monitoring system, and you will have much, much more feedback. So this is a huge streamlining of what we've been doing, and I think it's teacher-friendly, I think it's student-friendly, and I think it's parent-friendly. So I want to thank the legislature for doing it. And if you think, look at all that we've done over the last several years. We're right now, the latest Education Week rankings that came out, I guess, last year, has Florida number 3 for K-12 achievement. I think we were maybe in the top 20 4 years ago. Now we're in the top 5. We've done things like take bold moves to eliminate Common Core and replace them with our world-class BEST standards that was devised under the Department of Education supervision. We have invested in our educators, raising the minimum teacher pay to one of the highest levels in the nation. And if you look at what we did in this recent budget, over the last 3 years, we will have over $2 billion in compensation increases for teachers throughout the state of Florida. So that's a huge, huge deal. This year we have historic per pupil funding, which is 2nd year in a row we've done that. And then, of course, you go back, probably one of the most significant things we did, summer of 2020, while people were saying, you know, you couldn't send kids to school, we said, you know what? These are not high-risk environments. We understand the data, but we also understand how disastrous it would be to lock these kids out of school. Every parent in Florida had a right to send their kid to school in person 5 days a week. And we had school districts across this country, teachers rise to the challenge when people were saying that we were doing the wrong thing. Well, now I think you look back a couple years later, the places that lock the kids out of school for a year, 18 months, they did immense damage to these students. And you know where that damage is focusing on? It's focusing on low and working class families. The wealthy students, families who were doing Zoom and part of the laptop class, they would bring in tutors, they'd send their kids to private schools. You actually had lockdown governors and local officials would lock down schools and then send their own kids in person to private schools. That is wrong. And so we made sure that all students in Florida had the opportunity to do that. We're much better off for it. And then we've also doubled down on early learning and early literacy. We're going to have some great announcements this year. We did a lot under the Speaker's leadership last year. And then we've put more of an emphasis on civics education than any other state in the country. We have more that we're going to be able to talk about after this legislative session, and we're going to continue doing that. So I'm just happy that we have so many people in the legislature, throughout our state that really understand how important education is. We've worked incredibly hard. We've been able to achieve an awful lot, and you know, this matters, and this matters big time, and it's going to matter not only now but far into the future. So we've got a lot of folks that are going to come up and be able to offer some comments, and I look forward to hearing from them all. So we will start with our Speaker of the House and Pinellas County native, Chris Sprouls.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you for being here at St. Pete College. Our Florida state colleges are leading the way in workforce education, and right here in Pinellas County, St. Pete College is the tip of that spear. Governor, it's great to be with you today, with Commissioner Corcoran, Chairman Latval, Representative Cheney, to talk about this great bill. But one thing I want to mention, the Governor said that Florida is, number 3 in the nation in K-12 student achievement. Most individuals, most states who go to that level, rise to that level of recognition, kind of lay off the gas. They say, you know, we've gotten so far, we've done so well, let's just make sure we maintain. But not this governor, not this commissioner of education, not this legislature. We haven't looked behind us. We've kept our pedal to the metal. Governor, you deserve credit for making sure that we continue to push forward at high speeds, because we know at the end of the day, the people who are going to win when we hit the pedal to the metal is Florida's kids and Florida's families. And that's what this session was all about. I'm grateful to the governor and Commissioner Corcoran, Chairman Latvala, Representative Placencia, who carried this bill. This bill is about parents and kids. You know, taking away the stress of a, one-size-fits-all test, making sure that we're monitoring children throughout the course of the school year, and most importantly, that parents can react to the information. Isn't that what we all want? As parents, give me the information so that I can help my kid be successful. Are they struggling in reading? Are they struggling in math? What can I do to help them? That is what this bill is for, to make sure that parents have that information so that they can react. And, the governor is going to have the opportunity, and hopefully I'll get to be there with Commissioner Corcoran and others throughout the next course of the several months to talk about all the wins in education and how those other programs, whether it's a reading scholarship or the ability to get a tutor at your school, all of these pieces that fit into a bigger puzzle of putting kids and families first in Florida's education. Governor, I couldn't be more proud to stand with you today and the members of the legislature and Commissioner Corcoran to make sure that Floridians know we're fighting for their families and we're fighting for their kids.
All right. Thank you. Okay, next I'd like to introduce Lainey Gibney. She's a foster mom of 2 girls, 10-year-old and 12-year-old, who joined us here today. She's also a social worker, so she can speak about how this will impact not only her daughters, but also the children she works with every day.
Thank you, Governor DeSantis, for inviting me and my 2 little ones here today. Right now, kids have to take a 2-day test at the end of every year. We as parents don't get those results until well into summer, which is too late to support any deficits and help our children wherever they may need it. As a mother to foster children, I can attest that the current testing schedule and environment negatively impacts children's self-esteem, mental health, and access to academic support. Our children are told to get a good night's sleep and eat a healthy breakfast and get in the right mindset in preparation for the current testing schedule. But those are luxuries that many of our children do not have access to on a consistent basis. The FSA is only set up for high-performing and exceptionally supported students. But what about those students who are average or even struggling? What about students like my children who had substantial barriers early in their childhood education? When I heard that our state was changing to a new system that reduces anxiety and stress that school children face, I was thrilled. For my children, I want our schools to have an assessment that truly captures their brilliance and instills confidence in them. I want my children to enjoy school and to look forward to demonstrating how much they have learned and grown over the years, something that is tailored to their individual needs. So thank you, Governor, not just for this bill, but for all the work you've done in the education and foster care system. As a mom of 2 precious girls, this truly means the world to us. Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to introduce Zanetta Robinson. She's a teacher at St. Pete Collegiate High School, and she has seen how progress monitoring can help engage her students and better ensure their success.
Thank you, Governor. Greetings, Governor DeSantis, President Williams, Speaker Sprouls, Representative Latvala, Commissioner Cochran, parents, educators, guests, Floridians. My name is Zanetta Robinson, and I teach sophomores at St. Petersburg Collegiate High School's North Pinellas campus in Tarpon Springs. This morning, I'm going to spend a few moments telling you the story of 2 students with 2 separate college and career-ready goals, a teacher, a governor, a legislature, and progress monitoring. In 2020, I had an underachieving student who needed a passing FSA score. She was close, so close. In fact, she come close on more than one occasion. Like the dedicated teacher I am, I used her 9th grade data to create a tool to monitor her learning and inform and guide my individualized instruction for her. though I had no real way of knowing or predicting how she'd later perform on the high-stakes FSA. We used the progress monitoring tool I created, and we labored on, fingers crossed. There was no FSA in 2020. In 2021, amid much angst, stress, hand-wringing, and just stress beyond imagining, she got the score that she needed. She was stressed, but she did it. In 2021, I had a student who needed to improve her PERT score to demonstrate her college readiness. As a teacher, I knew I could use my best practices to help her reach her goal. But in 2021, something new and exciting happened. Our governor, Ron DeSantis, reached out from his office in Tallahassee, took my hand and said, "Together, we've got this. Let's do what's right for Florida's teachers, students, and families." He implemented progress monitoring. Now the student had low stakes, accurate descriptions of her readiness. I had a low-stakes, real-time way to inform my instructional practice. Her family had information and, most importantly, hope. I used the data. The student got the score she needed. 2 students with 2 separate college and career readiness goals: a teacher, a governor, a legislature, and progress monitoring. The students met their 2 different college and career ready goals. The teacher got the support and data she needed to inform her practice. The governor, supported by the legislature, instituted a plan that empowers Florida's families and protects Florida's #1 in the nation accountability system. The too long didn't read version is this: progress monitoring is right for kids. It's right for teachers, it's right for families, it's right for Florida. Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to hear from Daniel Walsh. He's been an educator for more than 30 years. He's excited about progress monitoring, not only as a teacher, but also as a parent. And like many of his students, even though both of his children are strong learners, they spent a lot of time focusing on testing at the expense of learning, and they basically would relearn at the end of the year just to do the test. And so he's going to come up and say a few things.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Dan Welch. I'm a teacher at the St. Petersburg, sorry, I'm not used to speaking in front of a group of people. St. Petersburg Collegiate High School. This campus here is an amazing campus. And yes, I do have 2 students who went through the Pinellas County school system, and they did actually have to go through the progress monitoring, through the standardized testing system. And I remember the days as a parent listening to the stories about preparing for the test, before the test, and making sure as a parent they would get a good night's sleep, which is not always easy with a teenager, and make sure they have a hearty breakfast before they actually take the test. And there's, like I said, there's multiple days of that, and the anxiety of waiting for the results to show up. It took months for the results to show up, and then after that, it was too late to make any changes. So as an effective teacher here at Pinellas County Schools and teaching for a long time, every effective teacher knows progress monitoring works. You start with a lesson, and you give assessments along the way, formative assessments to determine how the students are doing. Those assessments determine my lesson plans. I would change my lesson plans on a daily basis, saying, okay, they didn't do so well in that assessment. Let's see what happened, and retool, and go back and relearn. And actually, that's what we really need to do. That's what progress monitoring is all about, going back and retooling, teaching the students what they need to know that they lost along the way. Progress monitoring is an exceptional model, and it's really going to help the students, especially the ones who struggle with testing as standardized tests. Many students have test anxiety, and they get inside of a room, SAT room or FSA room, and they sit there and they know the weight of that test, the importance of that test, and that determines their whole future. So they know that it's really critical to do well, and then when they don't do well, they feel as a failure as a student. Unfortunately, as educators, we know all year long we're giving them positive reinforcement. They can do it. You can get through this, and all year long we're giving them positive feedback. It's not until the end of the year when they take an FSA that they find out that maybe they weren't so good, and that destroys their character, which we never want to do as teachers. So progress monitoring is an excellent idea. It's an excellent model for effective teaching, and I want to thank Governor DeSantis for actually implementing this bill. It's going to change lives, lots of lives from this future on. Thank you.
Good job. Okay, we have Dr. Williams, president of St. Pete College, so she's going to talk about some of the great work that they're doing here and what this means for them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Governor DeSantis, Speaker Sprouls. I am so grateful to you for your work. Commissioner Corcoran, Chair Latvala, and Representative Cheney. Thank you so much for being here today. On behalf of St. Petersburg College's Board of Trustees, faculty, and staff, welcome to St. Petersburg College. We are in the Joseph H. Lang Student Success Center. Thank you, Speaker Sprouls, for helping us build this center. We just want to let you know that Governor DeSantis' leadership has been very instrumental in many ways. This is just one of those many ways. What he has done over time has been really extremely focused on K through 12, because he knew that our K through 12 students are our future. If we're going to make Florida the #1 workforce state, we've got to build the workers. And to do that, they must finish high school, and finish high school on time and prepared for the work that we have laid upon us. He's done a lot of work on school safety and mental health, and especially workforce education. Thank you for that. Early learning and VPK, and the list goes on. We could be here for hours to talk about the impact that Governor DeSantis has made. The expansion of school choice and opportunities for parents is one that's very important. He wanted to make sure that parents were empowered to make a decision for education specifically tailored to their children. This is important, and for the parents who are not taking advantage, it's your choice. But the choice is there. Thank you, Governor DeSantis, for that. I also want to thank you for your leadership that supported us in offering a new workforce-based collegiate high school, the St. Petersburg Collegiate STEM High School. Students will simultaneously earn a high school diploma and an AS degree, preparing them for work at the same time. They will also earn 2 industry certifications along with their AS degree. Talk about changing the game. That's exactly what Governor DeSantis has done. And I want to thank Commissioner Corcoran for his support on the Collegiate High School. That's going to be very critical and a game changer for us. So what exactly does progress monitoring do? In my opinion, as college president, it strengthens the pipeline. It helps students gain confidence, help them be more prepared for post-secondary education, whether they attend a technical college, a university, or the Great 28 of the Florida college system. How great it's going to be for the student and parent to learn up front those leading indicators that share with students and parents how well they're doing, and to be able to create an individualized plan to help students who need that extra help succeed. Man, I would have loved to have had that when I was in high school. Progress monitoring further ensures that our students are ready, they're capable to be good with academics and their careers. The Florida college system institutions receives a large number of graduates from our local high schools. The more successful they are in high school indicates greater success in college. We look forward to maximizing the achievement of each learner, ensuring a lucrative career path, and meeting the needs of our community, because together we can and we will accelerate Florida. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, last, and sometimes I say least, but you know, I got to rib him on the way out, although we're going to do so many education bill signings over the next few weeks that we're going to keep him busy all the way out the door. But, you know, Richard Corcoran, as I mentioned, came to me, you know, a couple years ago about this, saying we need to do a lot of different things, but build to being able to make this change. And it was something that I really wasn't as familiar about in terms of progress monitoring, and it was something that they had looked at very seriously. They were very impressed with the way it had been done, particularly as we have new technology. I mean, you have a whole host of ways to be able to make this very effective and user-friendly. And so he says, we've got to do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm convinced. And so we went ahead and charted the course. Last year we did the press conference. We said this is what we were going to do. And then the legislature has delivered, and we will come full circle and sign it into law today. So come on up, Richard.
I just want to clarify, the reason he says least a lot is because on his annual charitable golf tournament, I'm his worst golfer on the governor's team. I rarely score a point, and
Get a point this year.
I
though,
did,
right?
I
Yeah,
did.
right.
I finally scored. I finally got on the board. But I just want to say it's a great day, and the governor is dead on. One of the silver linings, if there was a silver lining to COVID, is when we had to cancel testing when COVID hit, and then we were looking at the data and poring over it with the governor, and what we saw was that the progress monitoring data that did not cease for those students was just as enlightening to us on where those students were and what they needed to do as this very elaborate, laborious FSA. And so that was the beginning of the change that you're seeing today, and the governor said it well. Accountability has changed just so much in the state of Florida, and who it elevates more than anybody else are the least fortunate, those with the least voice. Accountability has taken, whether it's students with disabilities, low-income students, minority students, and elevated them greater than any state in the country over the last decade. But that doesn't mean you rest. You know, to what Speaker Sprouls said, this governor is always pushing the envelope. How do we have a better accountability system, the best accountability system? And progress monitoring, and everyone said it, I don't want to repeat it, but now you're getting something that's fairer to teachers, because now the teachers are getting that real-time data throughout the year. It's much more helpful to parents, and most importantly, it's beneficial to students. So in September, when they do that initial progress monitoring, they could say, oh, you know, Sally's struggling with conjunctions. We need to really focus with her on conjunctions. It's very diagnostic, and it's very specific to the child. And no place in the state is a better example of why progress monitoring is absolutely the accountability system we want, because right here in Pinellas County, there is an elementary school that went from a low F to an A overnight, and they will tell you it was through progress monitoring, constantly knowing what every individual child needed to succeed on the ultimate FSA. And the governor said it, what we're doing now, not only does it relieve of the anxiety and that pressure, but it's also done in half the time. And so now classroom instruction will proceed for another month over what we do in previous years, because we'll be able to just minimize and streamline that testing. And finally, I'll say this. The Speaker Sprouls said it beautifully. This is literally what you've seen over the last 4 years. And I was served in the legislature. I had the honor of being a speaker. What's happened in the last 4 years, 4 sessions under Governor DeSantis is not amazing. It has never been accomplished in American history in a state. It's that dramatic, and you've heard it from the president, you've heard it from Speaker Sprouls. This is just one piece of that puzzle. And that puzzle, which is getting pretty complete, is a beautiful canvas of art. And you've heard it from whether it's choice, whether it's the elimination of Common Core, where it's a focus on early literacy, getting books into children's hands that can otherwise not get them in the New Worlds Initiative, whether it's a civics literacy and making sure people are ready to be great citizens and understand what it means to be a person in a self-governing society, whether it's choice and the expansion and the access to it, whether it's the elevation of teacher pay to bottom 25 to top 5 in the entire country. What has happened in the last 4 sessions in education is staggering, and what it is a beautiful canvas, a beautiful piece of art, and what it leads to, and I like what the professor said, is you're changing children's lives. Not just their minds, but their hearts. And there's no longer a question of if Florida will be #1 in the country. The question now is when we start getting the measurement and back to normalcy with the other 50 states, you will see that Florida is hands down #1 in K-12 education. And it's all because of this guy behind us. And so thank you so much, Governor.
Okay, well, let's get it in the books. Today's date is the 13th? 15th. Oh, yeah, because we were, the session ended a couple days later, so I knew the session end date. All right, well, this will be good, so. Who wants a pen?
The girls first.
Who else? Teacher of the Year. Oh, of course, always. Anybody else? Teacher? There we go. All right, this is a big deal, guys, right here. Really big. You got it?